Kanika Bactra, the day you decided to cross me and my children was the day that you decided to do the worst thing possible for yourself. I'm going to do the one thing that you can't stand, the one thing that you've been fighting your whole life to avoid. I'm gonna figure you out because, see, you did the very thing that not only was anticipated, but is very repetitive when it comes to people who try to come for me, which is, no research. Here's the thing, Kanika. It would probably be your best interest to log off and quit watching this video. But let's be honest, the narcissist inside you won't allow you to. So you're gonna watch this entire video and by the end of it, you're gonna feel like nothing. This is the reason why you're upset with me, right? Because I pointed out the fact that you make damaging videos like this.
Socio and psychopathic women do not put men on pedestals. Validate him using extreme triangulation. The last and most savage is taking a huge dig at his masculinity.
For somebody who boasts about being a narcissist, it sure didn't do you any favors. The last thing you want to look is stupid, uneducated, and delusional. To save your brain cells the trip to heaven, I've decided to make a little game out of her video. I decided to count how many times she had to stop and start her video.
I'm a diagnosed sociopath. It's time to take down incel bootlicker Roma army. Ms. Chloe Sunderland made a recent attack on me. Everything she said about me was wrong and defamatory. She thought I was Russian, for God's sake. She has a following of 1.2 million incels, and she makes it a habit to attack other women with extreme misogyny. Currently, a petition is going around trying to get her removed from social media because of her virulent misogyny and hate crimes. I'm not going to judge Miss Sunderland by my standards. I'm going to judge her by the manosphere standards, which she so adores. First of all, she's a sex worker. Doesn't that make you impure? She's 24 and has had 2 children by 2 baby daddies. I'm not saying this is wrong. You're saying this is wrong based on your own standards. Not only that, but she's proud of beating her infant daughter for seducing adult men. She's 3 years old. She defends men tooth and nail. The only men she's known are the ones that have sliced her head open. She can't be a trad wife. She's got tattoos all over her. And she's had these babies out of wedlock. It's funny that she comes from Bucharest, Romania. She attacked my looks, but I'm not going to sink to her level. By comparison, I fit the manosphere standard pretty well. I'm a married woman. She keeps insisting that I'm alone and I live with my parents. I live in a completely different state to my parents. I am still childless, so I'm not used up. She claims that I've had a lot of surgeries that I have not had. I have not had my nose done. I have Indian lips naturally. It's called a filter, my friend. And sure, I do use makeup. Most women do. Also, she claims I have implants, but they're real and they're spectacular. Everything she said is considered a crime in Canada. In her local jurisdiction, this would be counted as a libel. She's just started another TikTok after being banned, and it is growing rapidly with incels whose feet she likes to lick. This is her 6th account, by the way. I am very pleased with what I have achieved. I have helped women escape abusive relationships. I have helped gay men escape homophobia. And what has she achieved? Attacking vulnerable women online. So you guys decide, who do you think's in the right here?
I always feel really bad for people when they try to come for me but struggle to even formulate a proper sentence. If it takes you 32 cuts to say what you're trying to say to me, I don't really think that you're on my level, especially considering you spouted that entire false, lukewarm argument all based off of you not doing enough research. You can always pick the person who lacks the most intelligence by their willingness to be so quick to go to personal attacks and low blows.
It's time to take down incel bootlicker Roma army. Ms. Chloe Sunderland made a recent attack on me.
Whenever a feminist is called out on her toxic, dehumanizing behavior, her first defense mechanism is to play the victim card. Because feminism has failed women, it's taught us that the easy go-to golden ticket of getting out of trouble is, I'm a victim.
She thought I was Russian, for God's sake.
Flashback.
Kanika Bactra character. I don't know if she's Russian. I don't know what she is.
End of flashback.
She has a following of 1.2 million incels.
If you care about the male homeless rate, the suicide rate, about men being abused, about little boys being victimized, and if other men care about that along with you, you're always labeled as the incel queen and the incel army. Incels are perceived as lonely, violent, angry. Nobody wants to be labeled those things. It doesn't take somebody with some brain cells and the ability to do some research to see that that's not what I'm about.
And she makes it a habit to attack other women with extreme misogyny. Currently, a petition is going around trying to get her removed from social media because of her virulent misogyny and hate crimes.
I don't know why I'm surprised, considering feminists have always considered it misogyny, even when you call out pedophiles, women who sexually harass other women, women who accuse men of being pedophiles, women who brag about being predators, and mothers who refuse to let their dying children see the father. I already did a video on this. That petition that you found that you're basing all of these claims on, yeah, the girl who made that, I'm currently in a legal battle with her to get it removed because I have an overabundance of proof to show that those accusations were not only false, but she knew that it was false, and you just repeated it.
I'm not going to judge Miss Sunderland by my standards. I'm going to judge her by the manosphere standards, which she so adores.
You would really think that if you were going to make a 2-minute plus video on somebody, that you would do at least 2 minutes plus research on somebody. You've got me and this community all wrong, considering the majority of us are liberal, pro-choice, pro-trans inclusive.
First of all, she's a sex worker. Doesn't that make you impure?
Trust me, sweetheart, you're not the only one who wishes that my Patreon was full of me squatting over the kitchen cabinets and the toilet playing hide the household products and the household vegetables up my cooter for $3.99. And again, if you did any research, you wouldn't have embarrassed yourself this bad.
She's 24 and has had 2 children by 2 baby daddies. I'm not saying this is wrong. You're saying this is wrong based on your own standards.
If you were never taught right from little to love yourself, if you were right from little put in dangerous situations where your little brain was fighting to survive rather than grow and learn, it kind of becomes difficult to grow into a young adult who knows how to love and respect themselves. That's something you have to learn, something I didn't know at 19 when I conceived my first child. Having that child, choosing to raise it out of poverty into success, that's not weakness. And choosing to have a baby 6 years later, that's also not weakness either.
Not only that, but she's proud of beating her infant daughter for seducing adult men. She's 3 years old.
Is this your husband, Kanika? Jeffrey Epstein sympathizer? In fight to exonerate Jeffrey Epstein, this is the kind of things that your husband had to say about actual victims of sexual exploitation. You asked for it. Some went back for 4 years. Most girls lied about their ages. No rape kits taken. I would really like to highlight this. You asked for it. How can somebody ask for something that never happened? Is this your website? Cinderella's Revenge. Since you seem to be so concerned about child safety, is this you encouraging a minor child who is experiencing abuse at home to commit murder? I can't diagnose anybody, but it sounds like he's got narcissistic sociopathic traits, and I want you to be protected before you do anything. Personally, if I were in this situation, I would keep a weapon, probably a knife, and kill him in an attack when his guard is down. With all due respect, if you ever repeat anything about my child out of your mouth again, I will sue you for every single dime that you have.
She defends men tooth and nail. The only men she's known are the ones that have sliced her head open.
Nothing radical feminists have ever said has shocked me. However, it does surprise me to hear you say that you've helped women overcome abusive relationships, and then hear you say something so grotesque about me, a survivor of domestic violence and someone who fled it at only 19 years old the first time it happened in front of the newborn baby. The only men that I know are ones that have bashed my head open. There are women who stay and hope that the man will change and she can fix him, and she traumatizes her child, creating the same type of sociopath just like you.
Trad wife, she's got tattoos all over her. And she's had these babies out of wedlock. It's funny that she comes from Bucharest, Romania. She attacked my looks, but I'm not going to sink to her level. By comparison, I fit the manosphere standard pretty well. I'm a married woman.
You are married to a man who believes that little girls getting raped deserved it. You can say that you didn't participate or you're not with all that, but I have evidence of otherwise. So if you would like to explain that to the feminists that you're tricking with all your books and your empowerment speeches, the majority of women out there don't like narcissistic abusers.
She keeps insisting that I'm alone and I live with my parents. I live in a completely different state to my parents. I am still childless, so I'm not used up. She claims that I've had a lot of surgeries that I have not had. I have not had my nose done. I have Indian lips and natural.
Notice how she said, I have not had my nose done.
It's called a filter, my friend. And sure, I do use makeup. Most women do. Also, she claims I have implants, but they're real and they're spectacular. Everything she said is considered a crime in Canada. In her local jurisdiction, this would be counted as a libel.
I'm sorry if you think that legal intimidation is going to work on me, but feeling personally offended by an observation that anybody with two working eyes would make isn't liable for suing.
And it is growing rapidly with incels whose feet she likes to lick. This is her 6th account, by the way. I am very pleased with what I have achieved. I have helped women escape abusive relationships. I have helped gay men escape homophobia.
When you say that you've helped women escape bad relationships, are you referring to this minor child that you encouraged to kill her abusive stepdad?
The only men she's known are the ones that have sliced her head open.
And when you say escape homophobia, did you just cure somebody of experiencing homophobia?
And what has she achieved? Attacking vulnerable women online. So you guys decide, who do you think's in the right?
What have I achieved, Miss Kanika? Despite being born in an orphanage and rotting there for the first 2 years of my life, despite facing abuse and having my virginity taken from me at the age of 4 years old, despite bouncing around from social services, experiencing more abuse, domestic violence, more bad situations that nobody should ever have to live through, despite all that, I am successful. You see that award back there? That's called an achievement. It's called success. I may have tattoos, I may be a solid 2, but at the end of the day, the confidence that it takes to walk around looking like me is the confidence that you wish that you had. It's the confidence that you will never have, and it's the confidence that you regret that you don't have, which is the reason why you wear so much makeup. It's the reason why you use the filters, because let me tell you something. A confident woman doesn't need to hide herself. A confident woman isn't afraid to show the world who she is, rather than flip-flopping. You have pictures with young girls all over the internet. You have the nerve to bring up mine and your husband, and you think that Jeffrey Epstein is innocent. Kanika Batra, if there's one thing that I'm certain about, it's that you're gonna go to sleep tonight knowing wholeheartedly that you are worthless. You are nothing but an impurity on this earth, and I feel bad for you because you are a sociopath, and sociopaths are created. They're created through experienced trauma and abuse, but you and we're not too different because that's something that I experienced myself. The difference between you and I, though, is that I chose to do something positive with my trauma and my hurt, and you chose to use it to weaponize other people, victimize them, and teach women how to bully, berate, and abuse men. A real feminist would never mock a woman for leaving an abusive relationship at only 19 years old, making it out of poverty, and truly becoming successful, something that you haven't tasted yet. Sure, you've written 4 books that nobody reads, but at the end of the day, that's not what success is. It's happiness, and I can see through your Snapchat filters and your pounds of makeup that you're not happy. I know women like you. I've been around them my whole life. You You thought that you would bring up my daughter and the domestic violence because you thought that that was a soft spot for me. But the difference is that there's nothing soft about it, because I know who I am, and I've gone through blood, sweat, and tears to get where I am, and nobody can take that away from me. Kanika Batra, you have nothing to offer to society. You are worthless, and I hope that one day you realize that you don't have to be this way. You don't have to live your life shoveling out shit to other people just because you couldn't handle the baggage that was thrown on you. We don't get to choose what happens to us in our life, but we get to choose what comes of it. You, ma'am, are nothing compared to me, so don't ever try to compare yourself to me.